When the Rockets traded for Chris Paul last offseason, it was with the tacit understanding that Paul would receive a max extension after he opted into the final year of his contract. But while Paul looked great last season at 32, he also reminded me of myself at 32. Looking great, holding on to a hairline that wants to be free, and wondering why his hamstring keeps acting up. CP3 will be 37 years old, making about $47 million in the last year of a max deal. Meanwhile, Paul George is 5 years younger, will be a free agent after this season, and will be a pretty good fit with what Mike D'Antoni liked to do back when he coached his offense. That hairline built to last, too.
Really is.
The Rockets are kind of stuck here. They will re-sign Chris Paul, Pablo, but they should pursue Paul George.
Paul George has that good, solid Michael Smith hairline.
He does.
He does.
All the way down to his eyebrows.
But Paul George has a certain advantage this NBA offseason. He's a good fit with everybody. Everybody can see Paul George sliding into whatever offensive and defensive scheme they have. Paul George is one of the original guys who inspired this positionless basketball revolution. He stands around 6'9", he shoots threes, he plays defense, he is the 3-and-D guy, but actually made real and whole. And so Paul George should work a lot with the Houston Rockets, work really well, but he's also going to the Lakers, right? Because that's the other part of the story.
That's what we've heard. Or he might stay in Oklahoma City because apparently they've done a good job of making him feel comfortable there.
He said good things.
And there's something to consider about this because Paul George in Indiana was pretty adamant about being the number one guy. You're the number two guy when you play in Oklahoma City. And the one thing about being the number two guy when you play in Oklahoma City, when you play as poorly as Paul George did in the elimination game the Thunder had in the playoffs this year, nobody talks about it because all they do is they talk about the other guy. Now, I say that because you think about the Rockets. If you were to let Chris Paul go and you had Paul George and James Harden, which one of them are you trusted?
Yeah.
In that game that we're talking about, as that goes, which one of them are you trusting? But
it's tough.
Yeah, the Chris Paul thing. Chris Paul ain't taking a discount for nobody, right? Like they set up the CBA to make sure that he and LeBron James got a big old payday.
He's the president of the union to ensure this specific outcome.
That is exactly it. I want to make sure. You know how bad you got to want to get your money to be like, I'll run the whole damn thing to make sure that we get paid? Because that's what they did. He's going to take the money. The Rockets are going to give it to him because they don't really have an option around it. Long run, though, man. I mean, I don't even know what this deal is going to look like next season if Chris Paul can't stay healthy. Like, at what point do we look at a dude that's played 13 years in the league and you start watching his body break down? When do you start looking at that like this is just what it's going to be? Last year just wasn't a season.
Right, and his whole game is premised around quickness and agility and being, fast on his feet. And he has a hamstring issue, and he is getting old.
And they're all being asked to work really, really hard to get baskets. Like, that's the thing. If D'Antoni's going to run this
so much dribbling
like they did at the end of last year, this is going to break all those guys down. All those dudes that are making all that money, there is a physical toll to playing basketball that way.
I feel like the number one thing we've stigmatized after the Western Conference Finals is dribbling.
Yes, because we're going to get rid of another cool thing about the NBA.
I love more than crossovers and dribbling.
We get rid of so much cool stuff in the name of efficiency.